Diabolos is a relative newcomer to Final Fantasy compared to other summons, and quickly established itself as one of the strongest. While it has made sparse appearances, any time it does appear, it is always a memorable encounter. Diabolos is the Greek word for devil. The root word is the Latin diabolus, from which numerous languages derive similar words. In the original Greek context of the word, Diabolos was used to refer specifically to the devil of Christianity, and the word itself means slanderer. Despite this name, the Diabolos of Final Fantasy is usually not an evil entity, any more than other summons. Many polytheistic belief systems associate the concepts of the devil, evil, and the underworld with the ideas of night, darkness, and sleep, which is closer to Diabolos' role. For instance, the Greek deity of sleep, Hypnos, is the child of Nyx and Erebus, gods of night and darkness, and is the twin brother of the god of death, Thanatos, and both live in the underworld. In Japanese mythology, there are many spirits associated with dreams, such as the Baku, which ate the nightmares of children so they could sleep peacefully. But once again, none of them bear a strong resemblance to Diabolos beyond a general association with sleep and dreams. However, there is a connection between Diabolos and broader Japanese folklore about sleep. It is thought that when one is sleeping, their soul temporarily leaves their body and can travel to a parallel dimension of spirits. However, if the sleeper's body is disturbed, and particularly if their pillow was moved, the soul may have trouble finding its way back to the body. It is likely that Diabolos was conceptualized by combining Western and Eastern beliefs, the physical depiction of the devil and demons, their association with the underworld and death, and the relationship between sleep, souls, and darkness. Diabolos appears as a large red and black demon, with leathery wings, a pointed tail, claws, a crest of horns on its head, and yellow eyes. Sometimes its color scheme is closer to red and blue, but black is more common. The exact coloration of its body varies, but generally it is predominantly red on its chest, neck, and the inside of its wings. In some games, the black parts of its body bear a resemblance to natural armor, and its core body is red. It is larger than humans, but not colossal as some summons tend to be. Unlike other summons, which have widely varying appearances that stick to some core traits, Diabolos' appearance is very consistent across multiple games, though it is not unknown for some to give it a distinct look. As mentioned, Diabolos is not particularly evil any more than other summons. It is usually emphasized as having dominion over sleep and dreams, and its connection to darkness is more closely tied to those concepts than darkness as a force of evil. It is associated with the Gravity family of spells, which deal damage based on a percentage or fraction of the target's HP. Gravity spells predate Diabolos, and since their inception were depicted as dark energy, so Diabolos' introduction served to permanently tie the themes of gravity and darkness together. It is broadly associated with bats, and can transform into a swarm of bats or command them in its attacks. It is also closely associated with alternate dimensions of dreams and darkness, though its exact connection to these concepts varies. Diabolos' signature attack is Dark Messenger. Usually, it is a gravity-type attack that deals damage to all enemies based on their HP. The exact power of Dark Messenger varies between games, but it is typically a very high fraction of the target's HP, and reduces them to very low HP if it affects them. On other occasions, Dark Messenger is not a gravity attack, but simply a powerful Dark Elemental ability. Aside from Dark Messenger, one of its most recurring attacks is Nightmare, which puts its targets to sleep. Diabolos is otherwise able to use gravity spells, Dark Elemental attacks, and the status ailments Sleep, Poison, and Doom. It has no other specific recurring attacks of note, but generally its moveset consists of orbs and waves of dark energy, with names evoking darkness, fear, and sleep, such as Ruinous Omen, Ultimate Terror, and Shadow Strike. Another signature ability is to split itself into multiple forms or create copies of itself. Diabolos is always ranked among the strongest of summons whenever it appears. Its power and demonic appearance often cause people to fear it more than any actual evil deeds it has committed. Diabolos is often a neutral entity among summoned monsters, and is apathetic to the fates of mortals, since the human world means little to it. But as with most summons, if the party proves their strength and overcomes it in battle, Diabolos will lend them its power. Diabolos made its debut in Final Fantasy VIII, where it was localized as Diabolos. Before Squall and his allies set off for their first mission as Seeds, Cid gives them a magical lamp, but cautions them about its use. Using the lamp from the menu draws the party into Diabolos' dimension for a battle. Diabolos can be fought at any time, giving it the unique distinction of being able to be fought with Laguna's party if the lamp is used during one of their scenes. Diabolos' appearance in the lamp may be a reference to the magic lamp in Final Fantasy V, which could be used to call a random summon. Diabolos attacks with Gravaja and Demi to reduce the party's HP heavily, but it has a major weakness. Its only attack that isn't gravity-based is a physical claw swipe, so if it is inflicted with blind, its claw swipes will miss and none of its other attacks can actually KO the party. When defeated, Diabolos is earned as a Guardian Force. It is a support GF that teaches the command abilities Dark Side and Mug, support abilities to reduce or eliminate random encounters, and 2 refine abilities that let the player refine time and status magics. When summoned, Diabolos uses Dark Messenger, which deals percentage-based damage to enemies dependent on Diabolos' level. At level 20, for instance, it will deal 20% damage. At level 100, it will deal 100% damage, but it is still bound by the damage cap. Diabolos also drops his Triple Triad card, one of the first GF cards that can be obtained. It can be refined into 100 black holes, which refine into demi-spells and teach Quistis the blue magic Degenerator, which removes an enemy from battle, similar to the recurring spell Banish. Ports of Final Fantasy VI that include the Dragon's Den bonus dungeon include Diabolos as the final Magicite piece, earned by defeating Kaiser Dragon at the end of Dragon's Den. Diabolos is the only Esper to give a plus 100% HP bonus, allowing players obsessed with min-maxing to squeeze a few more stat points out of their party, and it teaches the spells Gravaga and Gravaja. When summoned, Diabolos uses Dark Messenger to inflict damage equal to 15/16 of the enemy's HP. While the lightness it is acquired makes it of dubious use, Diabolos does have a unique trait. Both its summon attack and Gravaja ignore resistances to instant death and sap, which Gravity and Gravaga do not, so they deal full damage to any enemy, including bosses, regardless of the caster or the target stats. Final Fantasy XI features Diabolos as one of the terrestrial avatars. Alongside Carbuncle, Fenrir, Phoenix, and Bahamut, it is charged with guarding the world of Vana'diel. Diabolos resides in Dynamis, a parallel version of Vana'diel created by Dreams. He was born during the events of 10,000 years ago when the Zealot ruled the world, and the Kulu lost all hope and turned to Diabolos for an escape from the grimness of reality. In the Chains of Promathia expansion, the Twilight God Promathia is on the cusp of being reborn, an act that would consume the world in emptiness. In the course of learning more, the adventurer and their allies pursue a mysterious boy named selh'teus. In the depths of the ruins of Soljar, they find selh'teus with Prish, who is supposed to be in Drano, and Diabolos appears, revealing they are actually in his dream world. Diabolos attacks, but is defeated by the adventurer. Tenzin asks Diabolos to aid humanity in stopping Promathia, but Diabolos refuses. The emptiness that Promathia brings is a fundamental part of the universe. Later, Diabolos further explains that Promathia's emptiness is part of the 5 races, and they are subconsciously compelled to obey Promathia's will. These are the titular Chains of Promathia that bind the 5 races. Diabolos had freed the Kulu from their chain, but in doing so they lost themselves and became the race known as Tonberries. The implication is that Promathia's emptiness is what makes the 5 races sapient. Diabolos thus posits that one could save humanity or save the world, but not both. While Vana'diel may be consumed by the emptiness, souls can live on in Dynamis, and Diabolos offers the group refuge in its world of dreams, but they refuse and insist on fighting Promathia's return. The adventurer can challenge Diabolos to a rematch in the side quest Waking Dreams to earn the right to summon it. Seeing the adventurer's resolve, Diabolos comes to appreciate the human will to continue to live in reality. Though they will know pain and sorrow, they can also come to know bliss beyond what can be achieved in dreams. Diabolos can be conjured by summoners to battle. It is skilled in dark elemental attacks and can inflict sleep on enemies, and some of its attacks are powered up if used on a sleeping target. This is more potent than it seems, as Diabolos inflicts a unique variant of sleep that does not wear off as easily, allowing it to be more aggressive against sleeping enemies. In his boss battle, Diabolos uses much the same tactics, relying on putting the party to sleep with Nightmare. The battlefield consists of tiles that will drop down at random. Characters who fall off the arena are dropped into a pit of dangerous enemies who must quickly flee the area and make their way back up to Diabolos' platform. A monster named Diabolos appears in Final Fantasy XII, but it is a gargoyle-type enemy and bears little resemblance to the recurring summoned creature, and has no association with sleep, gravity, or darkness. It is a demon that preyed on children in Bujerba many years ago and entrapped their souls. The party accepts a hunt to slay it within the Lusu mines, and is revealed afterward that the hunt petitioner was the ghost of one of its victims, and with its death their souls have been freed. In the sequel, Revenant Wings, Diabolos appears as a summon, and he is given a unique design for the first time. He is a rank 2 non-elemental summon who uses Nightmare as his normal attack, which deals damage and inflicts sleep, and its special attack is Gravity, which deals damage equal to 25% of the target's HP. Final Fantasy XIV is one of the few games to depict Diabolos as a sinister creature. It is first encountered as a boss in the lost city of Ampador. During the 5th Astral Era, the mages of the Mark civilization summoned a Voidsent to attack their enemies, including Ampador, and Diabolos was one such Voidsent and was sealed in the city. At the end of the dungeon, the Warrior of Light defeats Diabolos and it disperses into bats. While assumed destroyed at the time, it returns as the central figure of the raid, Shadow of Mark. Sky pirates have been tracking a ghost airship, and when the Warrior of Light and the pirates board the ship, they find a massive coffin and encounter Diabolos. A creature named Katsith helps them escape, while Diabolos takes the coffin through a portal. Katsith explains the ship is the Void Ark, created by the Mark to survive an apocalyptic flood. The ship was powered by Voidsent, and in particular a powerful Voidsent called the Shadow Queen, Scathach, whom Diabolos is attempting to free. Later, Katsith learns that its master was the one who summoned Diabolos in the first place, intending for its presence to intimidate Mark's enemies into submission, but they protested actually using him for war and was imprisoned for treason. The other mages of Mark began studying under Diabolos to learn dark magics that allowed them to bind more Voidsent, including Scathach. Katsith realizes the rituals it taught them were deliberately flawed so it could one day free its brethren, and thus Diabolos is responsible for all that has happened with the Void Ark. Katsith has deduced the likely location of Diabolos' lair as an artificial island created by the Mark to be the Void Ark's destination that it never arrived at, Dun Scaith. The group travels to Dun Scaith and fights their way past Diabolos' minions, Deathgaze Hollow and Ferdiad Hollow, and then confront the released Scathach. Though they defeat her and then Diabolos itself, Diabolos reveals the true reason it sought to release Scathach was to absorb her power. It does so and transforms into Diabolos Hollow, the final boss of the raid series. Diabolos Hollow is defeated and the transformation reverts, and the Sky Pirates and Katsith finally banish Diabolos back to the Void. As a boss in Ampador, Diabolos' arena is surrounded by 8 doors connected by 4 pairs of symbols, which vanish shortly after the start of the fight. When Diabolos uses its strongest attack, Ruinous Omen, the party will take heavy damage, unless they open a pair of matching doors, which temporarily draws them into another dimension as they pass between the doors and renders them invulnerable. It can also use Ultimate Terror and Nightmare, which inflicts sleep on party members unless the player looks away from Diabolos. When fought in Dun Scaith, its tactics remain the same, but there are no doors to shield the party from Ruinous Omen. As Diabolos Hollow, it uses identical attacks bearing the prefix Hollow with modified mechanics from its first form. Though Diabolos lacks its signature Dark Messenger attack in this game, Ruinous Omen bears a strong resemblance to other depictions of Dark Messenger, particularly in 8, and its powers manifest in crests of dark energy reminiscent of Dark Messenger's animation. Diabolos is a more common fixture in spin-off titles, where it is the most recurring and iconic summon associated with darkness. In Final Fantasy Type 0, Diabolos is a family of Eidolons that Class 0 can summon, consisting of Diabolos, Balberith, and Astaroth, names of famous and high-ranking demons. Diabolos-type Eidolons move in a swarm of bats and automatically heal themselves when attacking. Diabolos and Astaroth can use Gravitrosphere and Graviton, which fires an orb of darkness at enemies with varying size, duration, and power, depending on how long it was charged. In Final Fantasy Dimensions, Diabolos is an optional boss challenged in Chapter 4 in the Lufenian Ruins. Diabolos attacks with dark elemental spells, including Evil Messenger, which deals massive dark damage to the party, and it can also use Binding Strike, Mind Blast, Dark Breath, and Comet. When defeated, it is acquired as a summon and uses Evil Messenger when called. Diabolos also appears in the animation for the fusion ability Dark Judgment, which damages all enemies by 25% of their HP. The game positions Diabolos as a counterpart to Alexander, the Summon of Holy. The two are acquired around the same point in the story, and their dialogue when challenging the party mirrors the other, warning the warriors of light and darkness that the two forces are part of a greater whole. Notably, despite their contrasting elements, this is the only game where Diabolos and Alexander are given any sort of implied connection. In Final Fantasy Dimensions 2, Diabolos has several variants that include Dark Messenger and Nightmare among their associated attacks. In Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia, Diabolos is the Summon of Darkness, and its special effect dispels enemy buffs when summoned. When faced as a boss, Diabolos' mechanics rely on turn manipulation, with attacks that lower the party's turn rate and delay their next turn. It can use Gravager to sap the party's bravery to 1, and its attack Dark Messenger is a bravery to HP attack that hits the party. Final Fantasy Record Keeper features Diabolos as the rank 6 Magicite boss for Darkness, and its mechanics play on Diabolos' nature as a being able to shift between dimensions. Diabolos will inflict a unique status on party members that marks them as being in a dream state. In its first phase, Diabolos is immune to attacks from dreaming party members, but in its second phase it is only vulnerable to dreaming party members. In its third phase, Diabolos can shift between dreaming and awoken states, and summons an ethereal tear the party can attack to force it to shift to the other dimension. The player must keep track of each character's dreaming state and cure it, or shift Diabolos' state, for their fighters to damage it. In Final Fantasy Explorers, Diabolos is faced in the side quest The Dark Despot. It can use Blackout to cast the arena into shadow, forcing the party to track down glowing crystals and destroy them to return the light. It can also clone itself and attacks with various orbs of dark energy. Final Fantasy Brave Exvius has Diabolos make its lair in the Wicked Peaks, when the party decides to seek it out to acquire its power, as they suspect the tales of a demon lurking in the mountains to actually be an Esper. Diabolos accepts their challenge and forms a covenant with them when beaten. Diabolos attacks with various status and debuffing abilities and dark elemental attacks, including its signature Dark Messenger. In World of Final Fantasy, Diabolos is one of the Pleiad 7 particularly powerful and infamous mirages. As with all monsters in this game, the Diabolos met in the main story is just one of a species, and its bestiary entry mentions that Diabolos-type mirages feed off the dreams of their victims, and some are benign and cultivate happy dreams, while others are malevolent and curse their victims with nightmares. Diabolos appears in an intervention quest when the past still haunts, where Quistis asks Shulk to investigate rumors of a demon around Balam Garden. She finds Diabolos and he retreats when Lon and Rain defeat him, and when she pursues Diabolos he traps her in a nightmare about her deceased brother. Lon and Rain confront Diabolos again and defeat him a second time, and he submits to them and is acquired as a mirage. This also unlocks the option to transfigure imps into generic Diaboloses. Diabolos is a mega mirage that requires both Lon and Rain to summon. He can use Fire, Gravager, and Poison Nails, and the status attacks Nightmare and Ultimate Terror. Nightmare inflicts sleep on all enemies, and Ultimate Terror inflicts debuffs. He also learns the support abilities Nightmarish Lore and Nightmare Touch, which respectively boost his damage when attacking sleeping targets, and give his normal attacks a chance to inflict sleep. Diabolos was also considered to appear in the Final Fantasy XIII trilogy as a fal'C. Concept art exists for numerous designs, some more biological and some more mechanical. While Diabolos ultimately did not appear, aspects of its design seem to have influenced the fal'C Dahaka, and in 13.2 and Lightning Returns, the bosses Faeril and Eronite also resemble its art. In Kingdom Hearts, Diabolos is the name of an enemy gummy ship, which can be acquired by the player as a blueprint. Thank you to everyone for watching. Remember to like and subscribe for more lore Final Fantasy in the future, and stop by the community tab on my channel to vote on the next subject.